I had in mind to call them by name, but I'm sure that many of you know them by name. We've been very blessed to be alive, to be a part of the homegoing from our mother. And not for a moment do we take that for granted, to be here and be a part of the service. So let's give God a hand. Yeah. Each one of us probably, when I say that, I mean my brothers and sisters, have had an opportunity to say something special to their mother during this time of illness. I, for one, had the opportunity to be by her bedside, and I took time to tell her at a time where she could understand me and acknowledge what I was saying. I told her what a good mom she was. She was a good mom. She's loving, and she cared for her children in a large way and in a small way. And each one of us could give you a story of how she was special to them. I can give you a couple that I do remember. I was sitting by her side and I said, my dear, because she was a mother so dear. I said, do you remember the time when I was in high school and I didn't have a high school ring or pictures or money to go to the prom? She was a domestic, and she worked and gave money to me to have things like other boys and girls did.
That's right.
Another occasion I reminded her was that I was a BMOC, big man on campus, playing basketball. By all standards, great. But I didn't have shoes to wear. Shoes that I was wearing had, you remember those times when the shoes go out and you put a little cardboard in them? Yeah. But it was getting winter time and you couldn't wear those shoes in the winter, obviously. So I told her, I said, I need some shoes. And she was working as a domestic. She told me, she said, son, I can't buy you 2 pairs, but I'll buy you 1 pair. So she bought me a pair of them desert boots. You might remember those. They were calfskin. And she said, these have to be your everyday shoes and your winter shoes too. So I wore those shoes to the university, and walking down Washington Street to the university, well, they would get wet. Walking down the middle of the road to the school in the middle of snow, those calfskin, when they got wet, they were tough to dry out. So I would sit in class and put my boots up on the register. And we made life go on. This is just an example of the kind of thing that she did for me that I reminded her of. And I'm sure that my brothers and sisters could do this very same thing. She made it a point not to love any one child more than another.
All right.
One day at the hospital with my brother Adam David, and I tried to trick her. So I said, my dear, I said, you can tell me now, you can tell us now. My name is the same as your husband's name, Mr. Climon. I said, tell me that you love me the most. She kind of out of her heel, actually. Yeah. I told Adam David, I said, Adam David, you saw that, didn't you? He said, yeah, I saw it. But he was kind of surprised because she never did that. Later on that day, Henry came in, and Henry worked at the hospital, and he was going in and out all during the day and half the night almost, you know. And so he told me, the next time he saw me, he said, Linda told me the same thing. So she made it a point not to love one child more than another. I want to thank the shepherds of the church in both Shiloh and missionary for their care and their attendance and seeing after my mother during the time when she was ill. I know Bub was there often, and my mom told me at least one time that Reverend Minton was there. I was there, and I asked her, I said, Reverend Minton didn't see you. When he came, when I went in the room, she said, oh, Minton was here. I said, oh, Minton was here. Now, that's not a bad term. That's a term of endearment. She loved us a mentor.
Yes, she did.
She loved Shiloh Baptist Church. She had been here for about 60 years, and she had been through the installation of several ministers, one back to Reverend Dyson, Brother Cooper, and finally Reverend Minton here. So she loved us some Shiloh Baptist Church.
That's right.
She sat there in that third seat. And she loved us some Minton. And she said, Minton had been here and he stayed a long time. And she said that he drew me a picture. Now, if he was there long enough to draw a picture, he was there a pretty good time. And then one Sunday before she passed, I was down at the care center, hospice care center, and I was leaving Sunday afternoon, and he was just arriving. And he came in, and he was beginning to talk to her, and she told him, he told her that they had communion, and that he had baptized 8 people, and that with that her eyes lit up. And in the day that she died, Deacon Watson was coming down the hall. We had not moved the body yet. He was coming down to visit her, and he came in, and he had a prayer with myself and Francis, who was in the room at the time. So I do thank the 2 churches, the 2 shepherds, and shepherding and the care they gave for my mother. And you know she loved us and Bub too, so I'm sure he's going to have some word later. And finally, one thing that seemed to resonate with her a lot was the fact that she did not want to be a burden on anybody. Right. She cared for others, but she wanted little given to herself.
That's right.
And she didn't want to be a burden on anybody. And as a mother, she wanted to prepare for her homegoing, by paying for her services as much as she could. You know how old people will save money. You know, she would save money for a while, and she would say, "Son, I want you to go down there and pay on my funeral," because she didn't want to be a burden on anybody. And she told me, she said, "Son, I don't want you to talk too long." And she said, "I want you to make sure that the lid of that casket is not on her nose." Now, for you who don't understand that, you know, when the body is raised up, you know how you crank it up, and it looks like it's very high, she could see that the lid of that casket might be on her nose when it closed. And she told me to make sure that the lid of that casket is not on her nose. I'm going to tell you, my dear, with all my love, my heart, from all the brothers and sisters, all 8 of us love, we're very thankful for your legacy. Thank you for what you've done for us, little things, small things. And you are really and others so dear to us. And we're going to make sure that that casket is not on your nose, and that you rest in peace.